Hello, gamers. Who up towering they dominion? I am the one who doms my towers. Wait. No, that's... I take that back. We will be back to our sporadically scheduled Star Sector content soon enough, but this game has been pretty good. It's a very good design. So I just want to get it out of my system a little bit. Yeah, it's hello, King Space. Yeah, I think I'll leave all that. Now, initially, you only start with these two characters unlocked, so it's not immediately obvious that there's a lot of 40k influence in this game. But once you start unlocking a couple more, it's like, okay, well, this guy's literally a tech priest. This guy, the hero of the Caladian Crusade. It all starts to fall in line. It starts to make more sense. I mean, these are also just... Gas masks could just be military influence, but they could also be Kriegsmen. I think the way it's supposed to break down is these guys are the Imperial Guard. These guys, genetically modified super soldiers, so probably Space Marines, and these guys being the Adeptus Mechanicus. Hold on, this isn't the money fish. You're right. Yakub. It is not. Although the money... Actually... Yeah, I mean, it's not a crazy idea that I could stream that. Maybe after I... I wonder about that. I don't know, I guess we'll see how I feel after a couple of hours, but maybe if I stream... After I stream this, if I've still got... Yeah, I could switch over to streaming that. Is this like forts but scuffed? I'm not sure what you mean by forts. Well, in any case, the design is pretty good. Game design, pretty good. They did a good job at this one. Are you going to sweat it on the X3 Frontier or just some standard stuff? Well, the thing is, the problem I have with Frontier mode is I can get pretty far in it, but it also just becomes a slideshow. Mostly because of the Omega Mucos. I've got to say, once you get past wave 60, the game turns into a slide. At least for my setup, it turns into a slideshow. I heart Moneyfish. Yeah. Yeah, I've got to continue that. Maybe instead of streaming it, I'll just... At the end of this stream, I'll just go do that immediately. Because I keep forgetting to do it. But if someone... But now that I know, that I got it in mind, I can, like, leave a note for myself. New Star Sector update is wild. Yeah, they keep... The modders, they get crazy with that game. Like, look at... Like, they've turned it into a tower defense game. I didn't even think that was possible, but... You know... Oh, God. I'm trying to think of a... Damn it, I was going to make a joke where I was going to credit the creator of... Sort of, Secrets of the Frontier with creating this game, but I forgot the name. I'm still mostly learning, mostly on War or X1. The extra recon points. Yeah, recon is really important, especially early on. It's part of what makes this faction a lot easier, is that they just get 20 recon for free. Colony management update, nice. Yeah, yeah, imagine having to... Imagine like there's like an update where your colony can get invaded by... If you colonize on inimical emanation, on like a... No, it's like inimical biosphere, then you have to play this tower defense game occasionally to defend your colony from the dangerous wildlife. It's like, oh, there's a wildlife invasion. You've got to derail your entire Star Sector campaign for the next 2 hours. Probably not 2 hours. Okay, not 2 hours. That's if you're doing endless. It's more like 45 minutes. Let's pick random. Oh, right, it doesn't tell you until you start. Should I go random? Can you play the guy with the plasma cannon you upgrade over time? I've never been able to make it work. I mean, yeah, it's... this one's interesting because it sounds like... The fact that it gets stronger over time makes you think it would scale up really nicely. But it kind of doesn't. It's just kind of okay. So is this just a tower defense? At a basic level, yes. But I think it's a... It innovates in a lot of ways. I mean, you know, some people have called it a clone of Rogue Tower, but even, like, Rogue Tower innovates in a few ways over tower defense, and then this innovates on top of that. So I think it's... I don't know if I'd call it just a tower defense. But yeah, sure, we'll play this guy. I find frozen logistics kind of easy to take. 3 skulls. Like, yeah, reducing your choices during reinforcements kind of sucks, but it's easily the one that gets you the most points here. So tower attack. Don't think I played that one. Yeah, it's a Balloons TD with extra steps. If you want to be... Yeah, I mean, you could say that all tower defense games are Balloons TD with extra steps if you want to. And you're technically not wrong. But some of those steps are pretty fun. Yeah, we'll just go with that. Not gonna do anything too crazy. I mean, Doctrine, you can get lucky and get something good. Sure, we'll go with that. Let's see. Early tile placement is actually really important. You gotta think about this. So, I always take Teeming Invasion because it's kind of free. As far as I'm concerned, it isn't... You actually want to merge down to 2 battlefronts and not 1. But we'll get into that later. Let's see, so probably... Yeah, okay. We want to loop this around here and then go straight out this way. Which means this tile has to go here. Extra supply... Like, Discovery seems nice, but getting extra supplies just makes the early game a lot easier. It's kind of the same thing here. Like, extra recon production would be nice, but repairing 40% every turn is just going to make your life a lot easier at the early game. It also has some advantages in the later game, because there are some towers that damage your HQ. Well, certain upgrades that damage your HQ, and just having 40% repair means you can take those upgrades and not even worry about it. And then between these two, I always take air. Extra shield damage, like shielded enemies are not that hard to deal with, flying enemies are a huge pain in the ass. 40% repair is a lot, yeah. Like early game, it just makes it so much easier, you can play way greedier and it's not an issue. And then it's still relevant later on because you can get upgrades that damage your main base in exchange for making the tower more powerful. Well, if it's doing like 500 damage a round, and I'm just repairing all of that, then... You know, it's a nice trade-off. Although early, I can see the argument for early recon production, because the more you get early on, the more likely you are to be able to build a perfect maze. And once it's built, you can't change it, so there is that. So the enemies, I want them to be, the main line of defense to be here. So I guess putting this somewhere around here is actually not... It's not a bad idea. I mean, you can literally do nothing. Like, if you take repair drones, then you can do literally nothing on wave 1 and you're fine. This gives extreme mobile game vibes. I think... Well, I think the thing about mobile games is that they try to look more impressive than they actually are. What immediately pops into my head is, like, Raid Shadow Legends, where it's trying to, like, look... They're trying to look like console games, almost. They're trying to look like something fancy. This is a lot more cartoonish, and it's just kind of okay with that. But then again, I do see that, yeah, that's probably my head being polluted by Raid Shadow Legends ads being everywhere. Raid Shadow Legends, look how advanced our graphics is. But now that you mention it, Other mobile games are probably more like Clash of Clans, and that would be closer to this kind of art style. So I hear you. But I do think if you're, like, this is, like, if you're working with, like, a small team on an indie game, that's probably just the better way to go. I literally played all Kingdom Rush games. I only really played the first Kingdom Rush. Back when it was on, like, Armor Games and free. Oh, you know, I'm supposed to pick some upgrades for this. Yeah, we'll go with that. I mean, the first couple waves don't matter too much. Barricades make the early game a lot easier for this faction. The one faction that doesn't have any infantry. Although I do kind of like the way that they handle infantry in Kingdom Rush more than this game, where they just kind of fight. In Kingdom Rush, they also stall the enemy, which I thought was pretty interesting. Yeah, I guess I'll drop that there. So I think the thing is, if you can do your mazing correctly, it actually doesn't really matter too much which character you pick. Because you can, like, you can win pretty consistently without relying on any of their abilities. But we'll get into that, I guess. Oh no. See, we can play greedy and we can hold on to our supplies for some bigger upgrades, because we just repair all of that. Thank you, repair drones. Very cool. See, we're going to close that eventually. I guess we'll put this here. Does tile height improve range? Yes. So if I hover around, you can see that there's like the 0. That's because it's at height 0. It's at 1. You can see the ring of yellow tiles that say +1 show how much extra range it's getting from its height. And there's 2, and then the highest is 3. So that does matter quite a bit. There are also some upgrades that depend on what height they're placed at. So there might be some upgrades that have a stronger effect if placed at height 0, or some that scale with the other direction where higher placement is better. I don't think I need to worry about anything just yet. Yeah, we'll just send the wave. Because I want to get the long barrels upgrade on the Mirador. Playing pretty greedy in the early game, but that's fine because we took the repair bots. Yeah, I mean, Durandals are pretty good late game. I'll take that. But yeah, you would think that this thing would be a lot stronger in the late game than it actually is. Because it's supposed to, like, but the only thing that these scale up is the rate of fire. I think is the issue. Don't really want a blank tile. I guess that can go here. Industrial site. I mean, that's okay. Am I gonna die? I might die here. Yeah. Oh, no? Nice. Yeah, wave 5 is kind of like the first mini-boss wave. In a sense. Usually what you're supposed to do is just use this barricade, but because I placed this Mirador, I didn't have the money to drop a barricade in front of them. This wave, I'm gonna hold on to the barricade. Do that, increase our HQ. We should be able to survive this. There we go. I got 2 ammo depots next to it. Last time I gave it a shot. It was really good. But a medium mortar fully upgraded would have the same effect. Yeah, it's surprisingly underwhelming. Not the worst thing ever, but... like, compared to just a regular plasma cannon, it's still going to be worse. Alright, now let's see if we can start guess I could put a corner here. That's fine. And then finally get veteran reinforcements, which is where most of its DPS is going to come from. Yeah, this might kill us, though. I think we're dead. No? I keep saying I think we're dead, but then we'd end up not dying. Goes to show what I know. Now that we've got another barricade, we're probably fine. It has piercing. Well, that's max targets of 1 by default. If you get this, then they can hit more than one target, yeah. Man, tight ranks, don't think it really does much, although I guess I could use some platforms. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't really want that. Don't need that. Man, the game is not giving me anything. Okay. Well, the game just refused to give me a straight line. All I needed was a straight line to fill out any of these spots. Nothing unusual about that, though. And that's why recon production early on can be so useful. It's just sometimes you need it. Tuesday gamer moment? Absolutely. Yeah, I think now that we've got a second barricade, we're going to stabilize. It's a bit of a... The setup is pretty not great, but I'm not really worried. See, I like to play greedy in the early game because I would rather lose on round 5 than lose on round 30. If you get what I mean. Like, losing on round 30 means that you sunk a lot more time into that run, whereas losing on round 5, you can quickly restart. So if you play greedy in the early game, you can lose and then just restart. But if you don't lose and you make it, then you're probably not going to lose in round 30. Round 30 is going to be a lot easier. Did you ever get that new power supply unit for your poor machine? I've been MIA for like a few months. So here's what I did. I got air conditioning. I haven't gotten the power supply yet. I took the money and got air conditioning because I don't have that. Or I didn't have that. Now I have air conditioning. I do have the money to pick up a power supply unit. It's just something that's my next thing on the list. Ha, perfect. Yeah, the only problem is I can't really have it on while I'm streaming, because then it's going to get picked up on the mic and it's pretty loud. Not loud to me because I'm wearing headphones, but the microphone thinks it's loud. Well, I didn't get it at the end of summer. I got it like last month. So like the middle. A little more reasonable. Gonna put it here for that bonus. You could have become Saitama. Yeah, but I like my hair. Sure, I could be the one above all with the greatest power of man. But I would rather have hair. And if you could see my hair, you would agree with me. It's some pretty awesome hair. Honestly, W, I wish I bought an AC rather than upgrading the PC. Yeah. I went for a few years with no air conditioning, and... yeah, I was just done. I was done doing that. I'd had enough. I've suffered enough. I've paid my dues. The reckoning has come. I mean, yeah, there's 2 entrances there, so I got a couple of things I could do here. They're not really getting through the barricade yet. Probably just need to upgrade this to clean up that area. Yeah, and then there they spawn. Honestly, I think the wave usually gets a little easier when you hit wave 10 and tier 1 enemies start spawning, to be honest. Like, wave 9 is usually a lot harder than wave 10. Well, I guess unless you live in a very cold place. In Germany, only weak people have AC. Alright, there we go. Straight line. Yeah, I guess I'll put it here. And we can put this... Yeah, I guess I'll put it here. Now, height 1 is kind of the worst, because this gets benefit from being at height 0, and this scales up with height level. So being at height 1 is kind of the worst thing for Bastions, but whatever. It's a fine position. Third supply would be pretty nice. But on the other hand, if you max out Mirador efficiency, you can get the expertise, which gives you more recon income. Oh my. Well, hello, hamsterling. Yeah. These things are so funny because they've got these straight lines, which makes you think that if you put them in a spot like this, the Vencedors will do a lot of damage, but they never do. They just never do. Sometimes I wonder if it's better to just ignore the Vencedors entirely and put them in the middle of terrain, because the roof-based pulse cannon is where all the damage is. This thing is like 100%, it's not 100%, it's like 80 to 90% of the damage that this thing is going to do. Let's see, there it is, efficiency 3, which then opens the door for expertise. Nope. No. Alright, if you insist. Guess I'll put a corner there. Yeah, I do think the different enemy types that they've come up with are pretty good for this game. Camouflage, so they can only be targeted by units with detection. And then they have this little visual cue of the green signal thing. I think that's that's a good use of like visual design to sort of indicate gameplay. Or like this one, I got special reinforcements, so it's got this little green thing to indicate that it can detect stealth, whereas this one doesn't have that upgrade, and so it doesn't have the little icon there. Right, there's a lot of little touches like that that show that the people designing this game had pretty good grasp of what they're doing. Don't think there's anything I'm going to upgrade this round. We'll just send it. And then there's shielded enemies. Shielded enemies I think are kind of in an odd spot, because in theory, anti-shield weaponry would be really useful for killing them, but I think most of the time you don't need it. You can just brute force your way through shields. Whereas when it comes to flying enemies, you really need some anti-air weapons, or you're just screwed. Hello gamers. Hello Stochastic Turtle. Not really what I want, but I guess I do want to close this loop. So I'll toss that there. Put this here. Ammo storage. Underground. Structural network is really good if you ever get the chance to take it. Despite being like a tier 1 doctrine, it just makes a massive... It gives... The fact that it's 100 extra HP for every structure you place gives you a lot more margin for error. Because as the waves scale up, the HP of your HQ, the starting HP of like 1,500 means that if you miss like one guy, you just instantly die. Whereas this can quickly scale up to like 10,000 HP, so you've got a bit more leeway to make mistakes. Okay. You know, I think we send that. I just thought this could be happening in Jangala. Yeah. Although I think the lore for Jangala is that it's like a fungus. But I guess if the fungus evolved to like move, it would probably attack the colonies like this. But isn't like Jangala like an airborne fungus that, well, it's just very not good for the body? Okay, so we can close that. I mean, really, I only wanted this one tile. I didn't want these extra 4 because it means I'm spending less time building the maze over here. But this is my secondary entrance, so I do have to, I'm going to close it down to just one entry point. You get 100 HP for free each wave. Yeah, it does synergize nicely with the capacitors that you get from this character specifically. Guess we'll drop that in there. Wait, does it actually? Hold on. Yeah, it does. Nice. So I guess we'll get the upgrade for more targets per impact. What are we rolling up? Sanotrope and Krylo. Yeah, we're going to need some anti-air for that, or we're just dead. These guys, I mean, we've already got a Bastion and the experimental pulse cannon, so we're fine. Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Jangala's ecosystem seems to be hyper-aggressive on a microbe scale. I think that might actually just be in general for Star Sector's lore, is that inimical biosphere is specifically like viruses and stuff, and not actually like dinosaurs attacking you. Although it would be cooler if it was dinosaurs. I've yet to win as these guys. They do play differently from the other factions, because the other two factions you can upgrade your main base to have defenses of its own, which is a pretty surefire way to give you some early, like, to get you through the early game. Whereas these guys, you do have to rely on, I mean, just pick the repair drones from round 1, and then if you see barricades, get them. They just make the early game a lot easier. Dinosaurs are a lot easier to kill planet-wide than bacteria. Yeah, that's probably why. That's probably why that inimical biosphere is that way. Because if you go to a planet and there's dinosaurs, you can just, I don't know, shoot them. Like, there are some ships in Star Sector that can go into planetary atmosphere. So if you just drop in and hit them with an antimatter blaster, they're probably not going to survive that. But you can't antimatter blaster your way out of a plague. Or maybe you can, and they're just not trying hard enough. Okay, so as far as anti-air goes, Claymores, alright, good enough. Direct orders will be useful. I could finally close this. Just gonna create a tile for free. Are you winning? Yes, I am winning. I am the winning son. So I need to close this, and then extend this path outwards and add more entry points here. Hopefully I can get an Omega Laser, because it's going to be perfect for this. But, you know, it's RNG, so who knows? I guess for air defense, we're going to have to worry about a lot of different Now the thing about claymores is that they have really limited range if you put them at height 0. But they're also really hard, because of their shape, it's really hard to find spaces above height 0, so you usually get the trajectory analyzer. Yeah, just use an asteroid, let history repeat itself. How to fight dinosaurs. Step 1, use a big rock. Step 2, yeah, I guess I'll go for network relay to give them extra rate of fire. I dream of being able to walk around and actually see the artistic vision of what their planets look like from the perspective of a tiny meat mech. Yeah, that sounds like the kind of thing that would happen in maybe like a spin-off game. Although, I doubt that they would make a spin-off game themselves. But like another game set in the same universe. Let's close that. Drop that in. Yep, here come the meteor meatballs. But I think we're good. I think we've got our setup all nice. I'm much more worried about the Krylos. So this claymore should cover those. This claymore should cover this. So I'll just put a Puma position here to cover this entrance. Alright, who are we getting? Yeah, there they are. What's the name of the pink flying demons from Doom? Because I think that's what those are. Oh, we're getting both, I guess. Yeah, you're the meteor meatballs. They just skip the path and drop in wherever they want. I instantly thought of that AI-designed landing pad on Yggdrasil. Star Citizen 2.0. Imagine if Star Citizen was good. That's what this game would be. I'll take the cruiser cannon at the cost of my income, sure. This is useless. Alright, that is something I can use. Start extending that path. The Cacodemon? Pinkies? Yeah. They're getting hit by the wrath of God. Zeus himself is smiting them. Zeus is the name of the cruiser. At least in my head. Oh man, of course. I get Mirador expertise as a pick, and I have to choose between the Omega emitter and... I'll take the emitter. Although it's a little too early for this to actually be useful. I need to add more entry points to that part of the path. Let's upgrade that. What else do I want? I guess for now I just need to cover this area. So we'll just do that. Bonk. Jingala orbital lasers. I think in Star Sector it's usually the reverse though. It's not like orbital, right? If you're attacking a planet, you mostly just drop antimatter fuel on it. You don't bother with like regular weapons. Instead, when it comes to like big guns, it's usually heavy batteries. Which is so funny. It's so funny. So the lore behind the heavy batteries, as I understand it, is that they're so good that enemy ships don't dare come close to a planet that has heavy batteries. Which means that they don't affect, right, and because of that, the only effect that they have is slightly reducing the effectiveness of planetary invasions because the enemy ships can't provide fire support. So they're so good that they become useless because all they do is reduce ground invasion effectiveness, and they're not even, which is just never, you can never have enough ground defense for that to actually be useful. They're too good to be useful. That's the lore. Well, the lore is that they are actually useful, but in practice, in the game, when you're actually playing, not so useful. I don't think I need to spend any of this money. I can hold on to it. I like how this channel is basically play something on stream but talk Star Sector. I'm just giving the people what they want. What can I say? Well, that's not entirely true. If I was giving the people what they want, I would be playing Star Sector. But you'll just have to settle for me talking about it while I play something else. Yeah, don't really have to worry about any of this until Wave 25. The troubles of being a very influential part of a specific games community. I guess I can't complain too much. Yes, Star Sector's a good game to be known for. But even I have my limits. I can't play the same thing all the time. Does the game send more enemies if you have more turrets? No. The game sends the scaling is based off of the wave. But the thing is, it scales... It's not exactly linear. So, like, if you can beat wave 21, then waves 22, 23, and 24 are going to be only a little bit harder. They're not that much harder. Wave 25 is kind of like a boss fight wave where they send a bunch of stuff. So I've been saving up resources so that I can kind of optimize for wave 25. No. Okay, so I could close this, or I could use that here. I think I'm going to have to close this, but then I'm going to get equal amounts from both of these, and I'm not sure I want that. In any case, this is a pretty terrible... I got really unlucky rolling this up. Because of that, I had to spend a bunch of tiles to close that loop, and now I'm behind on my mazing, which means that this is going to suck. But we're just gotta live with it. It is what it is. We're gonna get hit. We might die here. It's gonna be a big wave. Let's get that fully upgraded. Can't even use the Omega Laser because this path is not long enough yet. I mean, things are gonna be rough. This is not gonna be pretty. Wave 25 is a pain. I mean, at least you don't have a Star Sector related PFP, so it's all good. Yeah, I do have that. That makes sense. Trying to okay, hold on. So ideally, most enemies are going to take... So part of the way that this works is that basically... This I discovered thanks to, what's his name? The, Potato McWhiskey. So I discovered this game because of him, but he also made a video that helped me understand one of the mechanics, which is... So this split here... Where you would think that at this split they would go 50-50 either way, but they're not going to. What's instead going to happen is they check all the paths, and this split here counts equally as this. How does it work exactly? It's like 1/3 are going to go here, 1/3 are going to go here, and then 1/3 are going to go here, which means 2/3 are going to turn right, and only 1/3 are actually going to turn left here. Now that's not usually... I don't think that that's super useful most of the time, but... Understanding that does help you figure out how to lay out your defenses a little better. Yeah. It's like, well, if Beelzebub is no canon in Star Sector, so technically I do have a... Technically it is a Star Sector PFP. This is not true, this is propaganda. Beelzebub is not canon in Star Sector. Do not believe this person's lies. How do I... This is pretty important how I spend this last bit of resources. I mean, there really just isn't anything great that I can do. My options are not... I'm not happy with my options here. Okay, hold on. I think if I go... Yeah, I'll grab long burners as soon as I get enough resources. We'll go with that. Alright, it's going to be rough. Although, I do have the Navy cannon, so it's not going to be as bad, but... It's still going to suck. Upgrade that. Okay. That was actually not too bad. See, Wave 25 is a... Wave 25 is usually when you find out if you fucked up or not. Because Wave 25, if you haven't done a good enough job setting up your defensive, Wave 25 will kill you. What's the omen of this game? Puma Towers? The omen, huh? Probably... I don't know if there's a... I don't know if I can make an equivalent there. I do like to use Omega emitters, but it's a very different... It's just very different. So usually Wave 26 is actually easier than Wave 25. So I don't really need to spend any resources here. I think we're fine. Hello. Hello, Benton. Hello, gamers. Yeah, I don't think that there's really an early game tower that sort of has that flexibility of an Omen and that same utility in the late game. I don't think that exists. Ooh, 40%. That should offset the... Let's see. Yeah, that should offset the 30% from the cruiser, from Navy collaboration. Whereas 35% HP is pretty trivial when we have a bunch of other percentage bonuses. Right? Much like Star Sector, percentage bonuses are additive, not multiplicative. I guess it's a straight line. I mean, I was kind of hoping to get another entry point here, but that's fine. That's good enough. So, pro tip, I didn't know this initially, but an Omega Laser does not actually need to be right at the front. You can put it back here and it still hits the lane. Very interesting. And also the height that it's at determines how fast it reloads. So if it's at height 3, it'll reload a lot faster than at height 0. So I think I'm going to put it here. Not going to upgrade it just yet. Mirador easy. Detection. I guess, yeah. If you go for long barrels, yeah, it's kind of... It's decent. Oh, the thing is that it kind of fills two purposes. It gives you... It's like the most solid early game tower, but the damage falls off late game. So late game, its main usefulness is being a detection tower that's good enough to kill a tier... Like the tier 3's camouflage unit. If you get long barrels on these, they're good enough to kill it. Their damage fall... Like, compared to other towers, their damage is pretty unimpressive. They just give you, like, early game, they can fire in any direction, which covers the total chaos that is the early game tiling. And then late game, they can do good enough against camouflage enemies. But it loses a lot of damage since it has to travel all over no man's land, the laser. Not quite sure what you mean. I mean, these are okay. Plasma fence. Yeah, sure, we'll drop that there. So, I think this might be possibly the worst combination of tier 3 enemies. Metachrist Brood are another flying enemy that's even worse to deal with than the Krylos. And then Tourists just hate these things so much. Like, give me any of the other tier 3 enemies except for these two. And I think they're a lot easier to deal with. Looks good. Hello, what's this? This is Tower Dominion. It's a tower defense game that I think is a lot more interesting than your standard tower defense game. If you place it in the back, since the beam travels along the path in cycles than just hitting everything at once. So are you saying that it's doing worse because I placed it further back? Because it still strikes here instantly. And I haven't timed this exactly. But a half of its path, this area that's not path doesn't count. That's what I'm saying. Like this thing just instantly strikes here. It skips over this blank area. Like placing it further back does not impact its DPS. Yeah, it doesn't shoot any tiles that are not pathway. So all of this stuff, it skips over that. So ideally, what I want to do is add more entry points at the end of this line here, because the game divides enemies equally among all entry points. So if I add more to this side, then there's going to be less enemies spawning over here. More of them are going to spawn here and get hit by the laser. Somehow this setup is good enough, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe I'm just that good at video games. I think it's too early for a corner. Another straight line, you say? Alright, boss, whatever you say. I'm not going to spend all my recon on that. Okay, let's see. Height is 2. I think we're going to go height 3 here. Because this is one of the best... The Bastion going down this line is is a pretty good defense against tourists. The tourist is in the forest. Can you stack the lasers with a 1 in a straight line? Yes. And that is the goal. The goal is to take up multiple of these and stack them in a straight line. There's another character that's really good at that, and I'll probably play her next, because it's just a lot of fun. Having 5 of these lasers stacked up it's a nice light show. Okay, I think I'm going to put this here. Man, it's really annoying because these two require very different... So this requires more anti-air, but this requires more single target DPS. It's going to be a pain, but I guess we'll have to see. I mean, luckily we do have like 10,000 HP now, which gives us a decent buffer, but a Taurus has, you know, around 25,000 HP, so even if it's at like half health, it can still kill us. Oh, hey. I mean, I do want to drop that in, but right now it's just not what I need. Getting 2 lasers like this is a lot of fun, though. I am just really worried about dying to those tourists. Yeah, I think the best chance I've got is this thing. But where do I drop it? I guess I'll just put it at height 3. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. Is there any other spots that are good? I guess I could go long barrels here. No, that's not going to be too useful. Is this the next game that I will fail my next entrance exam because I couldn't stop playing? Or is it an online game? It's the former, Almighty Push. This is not an online game, but you can absolutely spend enough time to fail your entrance exams. Alright, we're just going to cross our fingers and hope that the cruiser cannon does enough damage to save us here. Come on, you son of a bitch, go down. Yeah, I think we're screwed. So the first one's dead, but this second one is just straight up going to kill us. Yeah, we're dead. Watch. See? I told you. Tourists are one of the harder enemies. Like, if we had rolled up the camouflaged enemy instead, we had that covered totally fine. I mean, those guys easily could have killed them instead, but no. Alright, let's play an actually good character, why don't we? In fact, let's make it even harder. Let's go with that, and one of those, and we'll take out these, and throw that in, we'll throw that in. Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, we'll just a night. Yeah, oh no. Yeah, if you want to save your exams, you might want to turn off the stream now. Yeah, the Big Chonka is definitely one of the hardest. Maybe not Low Tech World. It's a pain. Like, we'll go with Cursed World. That's fun. Get negative effects every 4 waves. Randomly decided. Very cool. Take some platforms and... yeah, an advanced Mirador, sure. Alright, let's play as a real character this time. Okay, how do I want to loop this? Yeah, I guess the easiest, because these are corners, the easiest way would be to go to loop around here. Lubter. Nice. Easiest way would just be to loop it around there, I guess. So I put this here. I'll start with the advanced. Mortars are nice. I mean, I like... So, I'm kind of torn because when it comes to towers that have really restrictive firing patterns, I like them. But they're usually not worth the effort. That's kind of the problem, is I like the idea, but I think the payoff isn't worth the amount of effort it takes to set up like a nice shot. Right, especially, so there's something that's that does that even more than Miradors, which is the decimation position. Getting the decimation position to fire like properly is an impossible task, but even if you do it, it's just kind of okay, which is hilarious. Oh yeah, I should probably mention her gimmick is that you get higher tier blueprints more often, and you get extra blueprints every other wave. So that's how we can get something that's like Air Command, which is like a tier 3 blueprint, right as early as like the second wave. It's just because this is the character we're playing. And so that's what makes it easier to stack up things like Omega Lasers, is because you can just find them early on and save them up for later. Yeah, I might be underusing mortars. That's true, Jatsy. I might be underutilizing them. Just because, zone command. Beautiful. Now we can cheese the game. If we can... Should I just do it right now? Yeah, I guess so. Or should I save up? Nah, I should save up. We'll save up. Decimation position is okay for the map-wide light mortar buff. Yeah, that part of it is a lot easier to use. But I'm talking about like actually using the decimation position itself. Just tuning in, do the different heights of tiles increase the stats? Yeah, higher tiles increase their range. So, hold on. Let's see, do I have a... Yeah, I don't have any Scout hideouts yet. So, you can see the... Take that. So if I can't talk about anything because it keeps giving me stuff to do. Okay, that's useful, but too early. Good enough. So if I click on this, the blue area is the default range of the tower, and the yellow area is the extra range that's been added from its height value. So if it's 2 tiles high, it gets 2 extra tiles of range. Yeah, okay, so we might be able to do this. So where do I want to put this? It doesn't matter too much because it doesn't do a lot of damage. So I'll just drop it in here. The main thing we're going to do is grab this, and then grab this for more supply production. Getting it early, like that's one of the nice things about playing this character is you can get this early on. Oh right, I forgot, this is wave 5, which means this guy. He's big and scary, but he only does like 500 damage. Yeah, no, we're fine. Ooh, Sanction Cannon. Sanction Cannon, my favorite. Oh, right, and I also took this curse, huh? And good enough. I'm gonna try and set up the lasers here, so it's fine. And now we have enough to go like this. 480 income, 30 income, not bad. On wave 6, pretty good, I'd say. What are your thoughts on the current state of tower defense games as a genre? I mostly don't play them. That's the answer. I don't play most of them. I think Plasma Fence is nice, but I'll take the Structural Network. So Joint Operations is one of the unique buildings for this faction, and I like it because so what it is a helicopter that places like little soldiers around the map. So the longer the round goes, the more soldiers it's going to place around the map, which makes it really useful as a last line of defense. The problem is it's also going to lag my game and turn it into a slideshow. Like it really causes some performance issues, so I'm not going to pick it for that reason, even though it is kind of useful. Okay. Perfect. We're going to put it there. Wave 8, we're going to get another one of these things, so I can put it here. And then we're going to funnel the enemies down this way. And try and loop all of these and connect them back up, and then put an Omega Laser down this line, and we'll be golden. I guess... So I'm probably going to put a Durandal in this position, next to this crystal. That's pretty useful, so I think I'll put this here instead. So what enemies did we roll up? Tier 1, we got the Brita and the Phaedratrope. I think this might be the easiest combination of Tier 1 enemies. We have no flying units. Well, maybe... I mean, the Tier 1 enemies are not that bad in general. The only one that's really a problem is the flying unit, Metacris. But Brita specifically are really easy. Like, their main gimmick is that they create these tunnels that spawn them in closer to your base, but... I mean, they're just so... Like, these guys move so slow that it's just really easy to kill them anyways. It doesn't really matter. I feel like TD games have fallen off in popularity. I mean, part of the reason they were popular during the time that they were... There's like a lot of reasons, right? Is because... Like, at that time, the internet was... We had the dominance of things like Armor Games, and if you're a kid at that time period, then you'd probably, like, go to the school computers and, like, log into Armor Games, which is a... So, for, like, on the consumer end, it was very accessible. There wasn't, like, Steam yet. And then on the production end, it was a great way for people... Like, a tower defense game is, at a basic level, is fairly easy to make, and so it was a good introductory type of game for a lot of people to make. So both on like the consumption and the creation end, it was very practical for a lot of people. And now that we have things like Steam, and now that people have now people at school aren't like sneaking away to the school computers to play games, they just have their phones, right? So like just a lot of circumstances have changed that make them less popular. Of course, that's just part of it, right? I wouldn't pretend to have a full picture of that, but that's what it looks like to me. Thank you for your commentary on Brawl King. I was wondering if you have any occupational experience in live commentary. Cheers. Well, yeah, I'm glad you like it, and the answer is no, I don't have any occupational experience in live commentary. Tower defense games were great. Yeah, there's a certain nostalgia for it. Isn't Darkest Dungeon technically a tower defense? What? Wait. Yeah. Okay, so this... Hold on. That's a statement I'm having a hard time understanding. Don't even have any barricades, so that's fine. Okay, so we can put this here. So we want to close this, and then the enemies are going to come in rushing down this way. Chat, those omens are funny looking. Am I at the right channel? Well, I'm going to give you negative assurance on that one. Negative assurance. So this is the most important building for a couple of reasons. We're going to tuck this away somewhere. I guess this is fine. So the first thing you get is this. Higher tier blueprints are 2% more likely to appear. So instead of getting stuck with like more mirror doors, we can get things like super heavy plasma cannons. So that's good. Predictive deployment. Reroll costs -5. If you stack up enough of these buildings, you can get it to just 5 recon per reroll, which at that point you basically just get to choose whatever terrain you want. And finally, strategic planning. This gives you extra blueprints, and a lot of the time you can get another mission control from strategic planning. So what happens is you can just stack up a bunch of these. If you stack up a bunch of these, you hold off on this. You don't get it immediately, but you stack up enough of them that the higher tier blueprints is up to like, you know, another extra 10-20%, and then you pop all of them at once, and then you end up picking up like 5 heavy plasma cannons and 5 more mission controls, and then you do it again. So when it comes to like, now that's not relevant for just beating wave 35, but if you want to go into endless mode, that's kind of an important part of the strategy. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, Bagel Bob, I'm not quite sure where he was going with that comment. Bonk. Yeah, the main tower defense that I liked when I was younger was Kingdom Rush. Although I only played the first game, I didn't play the sequels to it. More tunneling. And more funneling. And yeah, now, here's the thing. Now that these guys are spawning, the waves are actually going to get easier, because these things are super easy to kill. They're tough, but they're slow, and that just... It turns out that being slow is a really bad thing to be in a tower defense game. Look at that, easy. That's tough, because I do want to max out. If I can get... I guess it's not too important. I already have 30 recon production. I guess we'll go for this. And yeah, we'll get the plasma fence. So that's not super useful to me. Unless... I guess I could try to close that loop, which would be helpful. But I think I'm going to prioritize... Because this entry point, I'm not sure if I should close it or if I should leave it opened. Because it is just one entry point. I guess I'll close that. I'll put off making the decision. That's a future me problem. I don't gotta worry about that. Dungeon Keeper was basically a TD game, which is so innovative fun because you not only had traps but could switch to first person. Indeed. I don't think I've played Dungeon... I don't think I actually played Dungeon Keeper, but it's a name that comes up a lot because of how much influence it had. Probably not really going to use direct orders too much. I think I'll take this, get some barricades. So this, I'm going to stick this here. Adjacent buildings get plus 50% damage against shield and air units. The shield damage bonus isn't too important, but the bonus damage against air units is important. Because 50% sounds... So the way that it works is that by default, weapons have minus 50% damage against air units. So getting plus 50% isn't actually it's not actually a 50% bonus. It doubles its effectiveness against air units because it removes that penalty. And that's how the math works. And that's why air units can often be the toughest units to deal with, is because just, like, yeah, there are specialized anti-air turrets that do bonus damage, but if you're not an anti-air turret, then instead you do half damage to them. Whereas shields take this is the most powerful weapon in the game, we take that instantly. I'll take the penalty. Let's see, so I am no. No. I guess I could put that there. Yeah, we'll close that. So this is the most important thing. You take mission control every time you see it. At least if you're trying to go endless mode, which is what we're going to do here. And this is the second most important thing, because it's the most powerful weapon. So place that. It's broken because of the landslide from earlier. But yeah, like, shields take 100% damage from your regular weapons, so they're not that hard to break, whereas flying enemies take 50% damage from regular weapons, so bonus damage against air is a lot more valuable than bonus damage against shields. Go get him, Snaily. Rest in peace, Snaily. Yeah, I think 60% supply production seems pretty good. Up to 805 a turn. Not bad, not bad. We're doing all right. Yeah, I think we're pretty good. We don't need to worry about too much. We can just sit here and farm the waves pretty easily. I can speed this up. Look at these guys. They don't stand a chance. It's not even close. We're way ahead on economy. Which is great, because it means it's going to be a lot easier to... Ooh. In fact, we can accelerate our economy. So this would be good here. I don't really need to... I'm not in any rush to close that, I guess, so I can throw this down. Put more entry points down this line. So we've got 11 entry points, which means that they're even... Like, enemy spawns are evenly divided along all these entry points, so most of them are going to spawn here, with only a small fraction of them spawning here, so we can mostly ignore this. Aside from these kind of like, these towers, because these aren't really offensive towers, these are for the economy. So we can get that. Yeah, we can get that too. Our income is 1,200. Nice. I'm surprised I haven't seen you play Factorio before. I mean, Factorio does seem like it would consume a lot of my time, but that's also the problem. It would consume a lot of my time. I'm very hesitant to start Factorio because I'm not sure I would stop. Yeah, we are way ahead on economy. I can just kind of sit here and chill. So this is what happens when you play a good character. The game is a lot easier. The ultimate TISM game. Exactly. That is what people do call it. It's what I hear. Word on the street. -2 tech. Guess what, guys? You can go negative. We're at -2 technology. So we're gonna get Parasis, which is just that's a DPS check. And Krylo. We are going to need some anti-air for that, but we've got enough resources to do it whenever we want to. Easy. Start a multiplayer round of Factorio with us. What could go wrong? You're right, Anon. Nothing could go wrong. Another pulse cannon, so I've already saved up 3 of those. Very nice. Puma position. So I am going to close this up on round 19. That's something I've got to do at this point. How do I want to set up my air defense? I guess that's one of the problems I have is the only real anti-air weapon I've got is... Well, I do have the bunker as well, but I want to save those. So I guess I could put the Puma position here. This thing does, at the very least, get bonus damage from the crystal. High Fleet would be funny. High Fleet could indeed be funny. I think I'll drop that in there. Look how slow these guys are. I mean, what else are you going to use that time for anyways? Self-care? Don't be ridiculous. I'll take that. What if I were to use it to actually make videos? Finish the videos that I need to make. Or that I want to make. I guess I don't need to. Finally close that up so we don't have to worry about Krylo spawning over here. And we can get started with our laser tag. You know, once I get one anyways. Alright, I think we can drop in some airfields if we can find a good corner to tuck them in. Which it doesn't look like. Oh, no, I got one. Nice. And yeah, there's another one here. I think I'll place it like that. The thing is, I actually want to put Omega lasers here. I don't want to put a flare there. It's going to get in the way. But then, where else can I put this? This is going to look really bad, but I think I'm going to put it here. So we can get more recon production, 10% air damage for the entire army. Pretty good. Just gonna make it easier to deal with the pinkies. I don't really want to place it. Well, I'm going to loop around this way. So if I place them here, that's probably fine. Either that, or I could drop this thing in next to the crystal. Oh, these are also pretty good. So the main use for these things is not really their DPS. It's always going to be mediocre. The main thing that they're good for is compact charges. They can apply slow to enemies. Right. I do prefer a large squad because with 4 of them, that means that they can apply slow to 4 different enemies. Whereas Farsight targeting system, it does mean that they cover a larger area where they can slow enemies, but I think being able to hit more at once is probably more useful. Don't actually have enough to get it just yet, though. So hold off on that. Still holding on to a lot of supplies. Slave away at tier lists, yeah. Give the people what they want. More tier lists. Yeah, I think I'll drop these in here. Set them up for anti-air. Perfect. And I think that should be good enough. Was previous run victorious? No, we died on wave 30. We got the tourist. The tourist spawned in and just killed us. As they tend to do. Did not have enough single target DPS. I find the first 100 hours of Factorio the most fun. Interesting. Making insane machines that make no sense and barely work. If you won't make tier lists for us, then do it for Yamfa. Wow, now that you say that. When you put it that way. I think I'll just take the extra recon. Yeah, I think I want to start turning now. Or actually, do I want to turn this way? Maybe I put the bunkers in the wrong spot. Yeah, I think I did. It's fine, though. It's just a couple of them. No big deal. I guess I'll put this... No, that's probably better for another Durandal. And then... I mean, we should be good enough. I don't see why not. I guess we don't have... Yeah, okay. So I should get Underground Network, boost our edge, our headquarters HQ, HP a little bit. Gives a little bit more leeway here. Yeah, because they only take 50%. But as soon as they fly past the bunkers, I mean, these have anti-air weapons, so they just shred them. Whereas these little flibbly-flobbly guys... I love the monster designs in this. Look at these guys. They're so flibbly. Is there endless mode? Yeah. There sure is. Why read tier lists when you can Griffin spam? I mean, Griffin spam got nerfed quite a bit recently. The ship itself and missiles got nerfed, and also they added new enemies that are good against missiles, and also they changed the remnants so that they have more point defense. Like, Griffin spam used to be peak, but now it's just kind of okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to take blocked ramp here. So now I want a corner. Close enough. Drop that in like that. And this guy we can upgrade to get slowing effect. So even though this doesn't do too much to air units, it can at least slow them. That's pretty nice. I really do need to pick up more anti-air weapons. This is just not... My coverage is pretty weak here. So ideally, I don't want to put any tiles here. I want to make this path as long as possible. But if we hit round 30 and tourists start spawning in, I'm going to need to put in a second tile. Because, like, one tile just isn't enough distance to actually kill them. But 2 tiles, you can do it in 2 tiles. Well, actually, I've been thinking about experimenting. Maybe it's possible if you use plasma fences. If you just drop in a couple of them and and put in enough to max out the upgrades, they might be able to kill tourists. Oh, there's my anti-air. I made the mistake of trying Paul Bingus's Trusty Fury and haven't been able to build anything else since, or fly anything else for that matter. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? A lot of people have the same issue with the Afflictor, where they try piloting the Afflictor one time and then they can't pilot anything else because it's fun and it's effective and it's easy. It's like compared. I guess it's not super easy. Like if you don't have good reflexes, you are going to die. But all it requires you to do is right click to dodge and then unphase to kill thing. Yeah, okay, I think we're going to drop this here. Alright, that looks good. We've got a decent number of platforms. Yeah, you can see when they get hit with the slow from the scout tower, they slow down. That is what slows do. Not much damage, but it still manages to be useful. Yeah, Unga Bunga ship. The Afflictor is very simple. As long as you've got the reflexes to right-click and dodge things, and like the situational awareness to see an attack coming, then it's pretty straightforward. Remember kids, Afflictors, not even once. Afflictors are like drugs. They're really awesome, but you shouldn't do them. Yeah, I guess I'll save my cash. So again, we're going to save, once again, we're like wave 23 and 24 are not that different from each other, so we're going to save up for wave 25, and then we're going to start building our defenses, because wave 25 is the boss fight. Are we reconnected? Hello. Are we back? How's the air conditioning sound? Can you guys hear that? Meat bag. Bagel man. There it is. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, we can. How loud is that? It's not too bad? Yeah, so here's... Very nice sound. Yep, just a little. So here's the thing, right? Not only is Star Sector a great game, but for whatever reason, it causes so many less issues for my computer. Like, the temperature right now is really not bad, but my computer's still having issues as soon as I turn off the air conditioning. And this is true for like every single game except Star Sector, where for whatever reason my computer is cool with Star Sector, and I can play. It can get way hotter in here, and it will have no issues running Star Sector. Specifically Star Sector. But if I try to play something like Tower Dominion, and I turn the air conditioner off for like 2 minutes, then my computer's like, fuck, alright, I'm dying. It's over. You should look into undervolting your GPU. I think... Well, I've turned down the power consumption on it, but I don't know about undervolting. Your computer has an AI core. Yeah. It doesn't like other... A computer has developed a personality. It doesn't like other games. Well, I guess we're going to continue this stream with... it's just the air conditioning on in the background because it's a prerequisite to playing this game. Structure runs on Java, which is notoriously inefficient. I think... Just don't play anything else, problem solved. True. Absolutely true. That's the lesson I should be learning here. So I think the reason it works that way is I believe Star Sector is running on a single core, and all of these other games are multi-core, right? They're multi-threaded. So I think Star Sector, because it's single-threaded, is why it doesn't have issues. And normally being single-threaded is bad because it's worse for performance reasons. But for my computer specifically, it just doesn't... I think the fact that it's single-core means it has less power draw, and so it's not overloading my busted-ass power supply unit. What is your GPU? I forget. I would have to look into that after stream. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That's crazy. Yeah. It is the secret blessing of Star Sector being single-threaded, is that I can play it without running my air conditioning. I mean, I should just replace the power supply unit. What are these crowns? What crowns? Oh, those things. And that's something that YouTube seems to have added, where you get XP by talking in chat or by donating, so that it can show who's like a #1 fan, which is apparently you. You should look into undervolting. That shit is straight up magic. Alright. If you describe it as magic, Balanoid, then I'll have to take a look at it. Control-delete Open Text Massacre, right-click on the process, and I believe you can still set up the amount of cores the program can use. I believe I've tried something along those lines, and for some reason it didn't work. Maybe I just did it wrong. That's possible. But I did look into just telling the computer only use like a limit, like 1 or 2 cores, and it just didn't do anything. I might have just done it wrong. You also get a mic with a noise gate too. I don't know if that's ever... I mean, I've tried using like noise gates, but I don't think they really come out to the desired effect. Or chat could just deal with the AC, it's so subtle. Well, for the rest of this stream, you're just going to deal with it. That's the answer. And then maybe... I don't know, maybe after another hour, I'll stop and then I'll go do something else. The AC makes it feel like home. You know, it gives it a nice cozy feel. What did I do this wave? Did I have to do anything? I don't think so. I think I was saving up. Oh, hey, Brain Man is alive. I am. Yeah, I think what was it, like... I think it was either last stream or the stream before that where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing this more often, and then I didn't. Which is crazy. It's soothing? Well, I'll take your word for it. Another pulse cannon, please. Waiter, one more pulse cannon, please. So we do want to set these up next to these for a specific reason, which is optimized coils. Adjacent buildings get 20% damage, and their upgrades cost 20% less. So if you can put 2 Omega lasers next to this thing, then that's a 40% reduction in its upgrade costs, which is pretty important because these two are really expensive. And also for the first tier, you just take Guided Charge. I know Solid Frame is kind of tempting, but +5 range is insane. Simple as. Is there a reason you save up so many supplies? Not particularly. I'm just saving them up because I don't need to spend them. So let's say that one of these things drops in the reinforcements, then I can instantly take the more expensive upgrade, and I don't have to worry about, and I just have it all saved up. It's no big deal. It also, like, making the decision later is valuable because it means I have a better idea of what the terrain looks like by the time I'm spending my supplies. I'm not under any pressure to spend them because I'm just so far ahead that it's like I just don't need to. So we can place these here. That should make it yes. Guided Charge. So if I can get a second Omega Laser right here, then both of them taking optimized coils will mean that both of these get 40%. Both of these plasma cannons will have 40% reduced upgrade costs, which is huge. It's massive. So this is new Star Sector surface battles. Looks nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's a new thing that they're trying out. Yeah, Annabelle Rice rolling up 5 memberships. Nice. Real slugonomics right here. Almost forgot the content tax. Alright, yes, if you want, you know what they say, no taxation without representation. So you have paid for your right for representation. The tax man is happy. I am pleased with this offering. So ideally I do want to get a blank tile back here so that I can extend this line further, but we'll see. I might be able to get it for free if I can make this line long enough and then close in that space, but that's going to take a while. So wave 25, this is the boss fight wave. These 2 plasma cannons should be fine. Plasma cannons are kind of insane, so they should be able to take care of it mostly by themselves. The only thing I'm worried about is the air units. For that reason, set up one of these right next to my HQ. Upgrade it, get some range, and then we can do this. Upgrade these, get network relay to improve its rate of fire. And I think that should be fine. Could probably still save up on those supplies. Oh, right. I guess I could take this. A little more rate of fire for my plasma cannon. Now, I do want to start building these. Not because the missiles themselves are super useful. I mean, they're nice around waves 30 to, like, 37. But once you get endless mode, then these things kind of stop being useful. Instead, it's one of the upgrades that they have that's really useful. But we'll get into that when we get there. Any info on wave insertion logic? It's primarily entry points. So they evenly spawn in across all of the entry points. So this is one entry point, which means that it has an equal amount of enemies spawning to this entry point, to this entry point, to this entry point. So by stacking up all of the entry points along this line, I'm forcing most of the enemies to spawn in here, which means that they have to go through my main defenses. Now, it says evenly spread, but that's not exactly true. It's more like each cluster of enemies has an even chance to spawn at any of these points. So let's say that we get to round 30 and tourists start spawning. That tourist has an equal and it spawns in like 2 on round 1. Well, that tourist has an equal chance of spawning at every entry point, and if you get unlucky, it could spawn here. It probably won't, but it could. That's more or less how it works. Is there a good spot I can tuck this away? Guess this is fine. It is also next to this crystal, so it gets a bit of bonus damage there. We'll go high capacity because it's cool. So this is the most important upgrade here, is defensive network. It gives you 2 sturdy bunkers, but then also improves the range of all sturdy bunkers by 2. So if you build a bunch of ramparts and stack this up enough, these things will have enough range that they can basically cover the entire map. But that's a long way in the future. We're not going to worry about that for now. Why don't the enemies attack the towers? Are they stupid? Is there a lore reason? I understood that reference. That sounds like it unintentionally incentivizes you to stack entry points down a single lane rather than build a maze. I don't know if it's unintentional, that just seems to be the way the game works. You know? That just eases the game. So set that up like that. Just look at them. I don't think there's a brain in there. Okay, so Metacrysts kind of suck. Now, Mega Mucos are interesting, but they're not the worst, but they also do have an annoying trait. So, if you look at tower targeting, right, way at the bottom there, underneath all the stats, there's target priority. And a lot of your strongest weapons target most HP. That makes sense. They're trying to whittle down the toughest enemies. The problem with the Mucos here is that these things split when they die. So if you get it down to like 100 health, most of your towers are going to ignore it, and it'll just keep going through the maze and then hit your main base. But then the problem is, it splits, and then those enemies all spawn in on top of your base, and then they split, and then they spawn on top of the enemy on the base, and then they split, and then they finally gotten through all of the guys that are packed inside one of these things, and they do a shitload of damage. So that's kind of like one of the problems you can run into, one of the dangers that these guys have, is that they can slip under your defenses and then just hit you with a massive pile of damage. So that's something you need to be careful of. Whereas the Metacryst Brood is just pretty... I mean, it is a flying enemy, which does make it kind of dangerous if you don't have enough anti-air, but they're pretty straightforward. Just build some anti-air. You'll be fine. When it comes to Tier 3, the least dangerous are like the Calyptus, which is just a basic shielded enemy. It's got more HP than... It's like... Yeah, it's got more HP than like the Tier 1 enemies, but... It's not that bad. If you focus on a single line, the line has too little and will get punished by elite enemies. I think it's kind of the opposite, isn't it? If you have a single defensive line, you could put all of your best, like all of your pulse cannons on that line, and elite enemies can get shot down pretty easily. Yeah, the enemy, yeah. That's actually a good way of putting it. I didn't think of that comparison, Bagel Bob, but yeah, the Mega Mucos is basically a Trojan horse. So you do want, so the way that you deal with that is you put more of your tougher defenses up front, and then you have some backup defenses, like say this thing, because this closest to HQ, that's the target priority. So you have you have to look at their target priority and say, okay, most HP, those ones go up front, and then you have like around your HQ, you want to have stuff that targets stuff closest to the HQ, and that kind of deals with the Trojan horse problem. Or you could just put up a plasma fence. That also does it. That's also pretty good. Speaking of, I probably do want to drop one of those in. Oh, one of the weird things that lags, by the way, is whenever they switch songs, it lags for a couple of seconds, and I don't really know why. Is there a lore reason for that? Or are they just stupid? Big fan of the level 1 goblin designs of the earlier enemies. You mean like tier 0 enemies? I mean, they are level 1 goblins. That's why they're designed that way. Yeah, I think that's good enough for now. Send it. Yeah, the code actually changes the song 50 times at once. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but whatever reason, the game just freezes every time the song changes. Now, to be fair, the songs are bangers. The music, the soundtrack is good. But it's... I don't know what's going on with the code where it lags every time it has to change tracks. Yeah, more mission controls. Gotta stack those up. I think they'll drop that in there. Well, apparently the devs are Canadian, so maybe they feel homesick if the game isn't frozen. Get out of here. That's an atrocious pun. Disgusting. See, there is still a chance that a Mega Mucos will spawn over here. Although, to be honest, we might be able to just... we have enough HP that we might be able to just tank one of them. But I don't think that's a reliable strategy, so we're gonna... I'll take that. So I think we're actually gonna build something over here. Adjacent to neutral buildings, 0% rate of fire. I think that only really affects a couple of buildings. That's not a big deal. For some reason, AC sounds like Abyssal Glare. Does it? Yeah, see, now that we've got a few of these stacked up, rerolls only cost 10. Okay, so I think a bastion is a good idea here. And we'll just stack it up on the right side. Yeah, that feels good. And then we'll throw in a barricade here. Are you going to put ammo decompose next to pulses, even without the specific upgrades? No. And the reason for that is because I want to... Well, I might do it later on, but the main thing you want to actually put next to them is Omega Lasers. Optimized coils isn't the only bonus they give. Right? This already reduces their upgrade costs by... If you can get 2 of them, that's 40%. That's already really good. But it gets even better when you get to charging cells. Because this adds extra damage and range. In fact, it's +1 range per battlefront. Since we have 2 battlefronts, that's +2 range. If we get 2 of them, that's +4 range. It's pretty massive. It's huge. It's rather large. It's bigger than that. It's large. Man, the onion is so fucking awesome. I just keep... There's one skit... I don't know if this is the onion, actually, but there's one skit that gets stuck in my head where it's like, wow, I heard that this event... I heard that... God, how does it go? It's something like... I heard that this event is going to be massive. It's going to be humongous. Oh, it's bigger than that, Johnson. It's going to be large. It's just so fucking stupid, but I love it. I heard... Now, Mr. Smith, I heard that in the UK this event is absolutely ginormous. It's humongous. Oh, it's bigger than that, Johnson. It's going to be large. Just absolutely peak humor. Yeah, so we're going to rely on the one bastion and the Tesla coils here, and the plasma fence, to stop anything coming in down this way. And our main line of defense, we're fine, because we got the plasma cannons. What's a battlefront? So, like, a battlefront is like each unique path to your base. So you start with 4, but when you start linking them up, you go downwards. So this, like, enemies that spawn in here could theoretically go to any of these 3 entry points. And because of that, all of these 3 entry points are merged into one battlefront. Over here, they can't get from here to here, so this is a unique battlefront. You can see it keeps track of them for you right here. You start with 4, and you can go downwards. And it's a good idea to go downwards because it makes it a lot easier to force them to pass through your mainline defenses. But at the same time, some benefits, like the charging cells here, scale off the number of battlefronts. So it's kind of a compromise. It's from the day today. I found it. Nice. It's the Star Wars Battlefronts. Exactly. It scales off the number of Star Wars Battlefront games that have been released. Oh, hold on. There we go. Yeah, see, it lags as soon as the song changes. It freezes. What's up with that? Yeah, don't think I need to do much else. Just send it. I mean, we'll see how far we can get into endless mode, but the problem is that, so there's the Mucos right here. These big guys. When you get into endless mode, you get the Omega Mucos, which split into 6 of the green guys, which split into 6 yellow guys, which split into 6 orange guys, which split into 6 of these little guys. And what happens is basically every time one of the Omega Mucos dies, your game starts lagging, because it has to calculate the pathing for a bunch of new enemies that are spawning in. It turns into a slideshow. Now, it's not that bad when you first encounter them, because they'll only spawn in, like, 1 or 2. But when you get up to, like, wave 60, and you've got, like, 15 to 20 Omega Mucos, then's when you start really running into issues. And given how well things are going, we can pretty easily reach that far. So I hope you're ready for a slideshow, because that's where we're heading straight to Slideshow Town. Yeah, I think I can just upgrade this. Don't need to worry about too much else. I really want that second Omega laser. I think I'm going to start cracking these open. Mission control, sure. And I think in the long term I'm going to need these more. So you can see I got a mission control by cracking open a mission control. Now that's a lot of control. I'll drop that in there. Put that there. Bang, bang. Crack it opened. What do we get? I don't think we need more income. I think we're good. Ramparts we're going to need for the long term. And air command. Okay. Let's crack this one open. Slideshow Town. In other words, home. Yeah, you got it. Durandals can be pretty good. Yeah, I think we can take the Werewolf on that one. And finally, another Rampart. And, come on, Pulse Cannon. You know, these are good. I really want to get my second Omega Laser, though. It's just going to make these a lot cheaper and more powerful. But I guess for now I can go. I don't really need to do anything. I can just upgrade this. And we're totally fine. Our defenses are too good. We're too goated. Yeah, we're going to get to the PowerPoint presentation finally. Finally, what I've been waiting for. There's the little Trojan horse. Hit the plasma coils, and yeah, they break it instantly. Easy peasy. How are you going to fit a new... are you going to for a neutral tile to fit all of this? Yeah. So ideally, the way that you want to do it I'm probably fine trading in. Yeah, I'll do that. So ideally the way that... Let me finish what I'm talking about, game. Good lord. Is you want to create neutral tiles. So a good example will be like this. Yeah, I think I should do this, honestly. So, watch this. Boom. If you can box in a single tile with 0 entry points, the game spawns in a blank tile for you. That's ideally how you want to do it, because that means that you can spend all of your tiles making the path longer, and also get the extra space provided by these blank tiles. Unfortunately, this spawned in the worst type, which is this one, where it has a bunch of different height variations. Because if I take something like ideally I would want a perfectly flat tile, because if you take something like the Tesla coil here, there's not a lot of room where I can put this, and I'm going to have a lot of these things. I think we just upgrade this again. Yeah, so this is an example of something that damages your HQ. If you take this upgrade, it gives 150% more HP to the plasma fence, but every time it overloads, it does 250 damage to your HQ. So having a decent HP pool and repair means that you could take upgrades like this and not worry about it too much. 3 height 2x2 rigged. But I don't want it. I want a flat tile. It's not even that good. Because there's all these other tiles around it that are kind of wasted because they're so uneven. Could do a Tesla. I mean, I could do a Tesla there, but again, like the point is, if eventually I'm going to stack up like 8 of these things. Having a flat space where I can just mesh them together like Tetris is a lot more useful to me. But again, we're not at that point yet, but we'll get there. Also, we can keep track of each tower's damage. This thing did 35,000, this thing 12,000, 8,000. They don't have the good upgrades yet. I googled what I was saying before about cores and task managers. The options are set affinity and set priority in the pop-up menu. Mainly the first option. Okay, so I'll have to look into set affinity for that. Where do I want to put this? I guess I can put it here. Drop that like that. Just squeeze a jog in between and hope you're live on this one when I still get back. Yeah, we'll see. It does... The waves do take a lot longer as you get further into the game. Past wave 35, that is. I think I'll... Do I want to get that? Yeah, I guess so. I should probably turn off the speed up. Oh yeah, and that's another thing about flying enemies. They go right over barriers. So if you get Metacris on round 1, or tier 1, like normally a lot of tier 1 enemies, if you're panicking, you can just drop a barricade in front of them, but the Metacris just fly over them, so that's part of what makes them more difficult. So the best option here is join operations, but I really am not going to pick this because it's going to lag me too much. Decimation positions. I guess I should just pick this to show you how funny they are. I just realized, glad to see so many clippies. What clippies? What does that mean? What do you mean by that? So these things. Oh, I already had one apparently. Look at the firing arcs on this thing. So even if I put it here, it's like the perfect position, right? But it's still going to do pretty mediocre damage, even if I give it like the perfect position. Clippy. You don't follow. Oh. Yep, there it is. It lagged because the song was changing. Thank you very much. Very cool. The office's assistant fellow from Microsoft Windows. It's an anti-bot protest. So people are changing their profile picture to Clippy as a protest against bots? Louis Rossmann needs you to change your PFP to a Clippy. Oh my god, the Louis Rossmann? Wow. I mean, bots are certainly an issue. Not on this channel, of course. I'm not important enough for the bots to flood my comments, thankfully. But it is certainly an issue. I don't know how to go about addressing it. I thought people just missed Clippy. It's not an anti-bot protester, it's a consumer rights advocacy thing. Yeah, I haven't kept up. I think I know who, or at least I've seen this Louis Rossmann channel a couple of times. But yeah, I don't know what any of this is about. Right to repair and consumer rights. Well, I mean, those sound like good things. I'm a consumer and I want to have rights. Yeah, I guess I'll just get Shattering Charge. I wanted to wait for another Omega Laser to get a better discount, but, you know, it's wave 35. We'll just take it. What happens if you loop all the entrances? Unfortunately, the answer is nothing special. They still just spawn, like if I loop this around and connect back over here, they still just spawn along all the entry points and then take a variety of different paths to the HQ. Like, it doesn't do anything crazy. Did you know the Constitution has right? You have rights? The Constitution says you do. Wow, thanks, Saul Goodman. Very cool. Oh, this thing spawned way closer than I was hoping. So we got our final wave, we rolled up Threat Majoris, which is this thing, and it spawned really close to the HQ. Luckily the plasma fence just did 1 billion damage, but uh-oh. Trojan Horse. Okay, we did manage to pop it. Yep. We're gonna take a bunch of damage, but we've got enough HP to tank it. We're good. We're good. We win. Now we go endless mode. Strength in numbers is probably good. I do want more sanction cannons, but this is probably good. Yeah, what was annoying 20 years ago is not even close to what assistants do now. Hold on, this isn't Star Sector. No, it's, well, you see one cooler guy. It's actually a patch. They've updated the game so that now you have to do, like, a tower, like, there's like a tower defense mini-game to protect your colonies from raids. Currently, we're on, this is me, I've captured Jangala from the Hegemony, and so that's why it's a jungle. I mean, if you read the lore, you would understand. Yeah, I think we'll go Exidium Warhead here. Get that bigger area of effect in the slow. I see, yeah. So that's taken care of. Yeah, look at this. Easy game. Yeah, I like the sword fighting. Exactly. That would be an interesting... If they wanted to implement a tower defense minigame, that would be the way to do it, right? It's just like the sword game, but instead the hegemony rings you up and says, there's a bunch of monsters attacking Jingala. We need you, John Starsector, to kill them all. And then you play a tower defense game. Honestly, calling it the new Tower of the Ashes, a new Ashes of the Domain update sounds more believable. Both of these are great. Like, this is the most powerful defense, but again, mission control, slightly more valuable here. This is like the #1 tower that you want to take for endless mode, and this is #2. Hey, we get another one for free. Nice. So I want a corner here. So we're going to box this area in and get a blank tile here for free. It's going to be great. I think I'm just going to start shoving these in the corner. Take both those upgrades. Crack them open. What do we get? Not really what I want. I think between these I'll take the Durandal. Take another electric arc. Come on, Omega Laser. Let's go. I'll take the air command. And another pulse cannon. I really only got one. That's pretty unusual. I think usually, like if you're playing Eleanor, you should be able to get more of them, usually. Bioengineered fauna, perchance. Oh, that would be an interesting storyline. Where, like, where some Tritachyon subsidiary is, like, fucking around with the life on Jangala, and they accidentally create some kind of bioweapon that escapes. That would be a good storyline. Some kind of yeah. Well, in any case, so here's the thing. This is something that they've done that I think is a really good idea, which is that when you go into endless mode, you get these new enemies that are way tougher. Which I think the reason for that is that instead of just spawning more enemies, which is going to lag you, you instead spawn in a smaller number of these super enemies. Great idea. The problem is the Omega Mucos splits into like 186 in total. Because it divides into the green guys, which divide into orange guys, which divide into yellow, which divide into red. So when you only have like 2 of them, it's fine, but I think once you get past like wave 60, you should probably just stop spawning these entirely. Which is a pretty niche complaint. I don't think most people are going to wave 60, but, you know. We'll drop that in there. Bang bong, crack it open. What do we get? Oh, come on. It finally shows up and I have to choose between an Omega Emitter and a Plasma Cannon? Of course I'm going to choose the Plasma Cannon. It's the best weapon in the game. I can't not pick it. I think at this point I'm just going to go... So here's another choice. 50% damage or 100% damage, but the HQ suffers 1,000 damage each wave. Because we have so much HP and we have 40% repair, we can easily take this one. It's not an issue. And then, of course, charging cells. So if we look at the range on this thing, right, you can see how it doesn't quite reach this line. Now we upgrade it. Now it goes over that line. And if we can get a second Omega Laser in there, it'll go even further. That's the idea. And then if we make this blank tile, we can stack up a row of Omega Lasers and a row of Plasma Cannons. And it's going to be very strong. You know, in theory. I think I'll just save up for the Blessed Machine. Why is there no Rule 34 for Tower Dominion? Someone needs to fix that. But don't encourage people, Balanoid. Nobody needs to fix that. They'll get around to it whenever they feel like it. Cursed. 10,000 years dungeon immediately. Exactly. So yeah, these new guys, they actually make the game kind of easier in a lot of ways, although I am kind of just letting them slip by. Let me fix that. Now I'm going to hit them with compact charges to slow them down. There we go. So this is where scout hideouts can be really useful, is applying slows to these things. So these guys have all of these guys have this trait called rear guard, where they always take the longest path. So so they're going to spawn at like way down here, and then they have to go all the way around. They can't take the shorter route. Although that's not exactly true, sometimes they take a slightly shorter route, if it's like 1 or 2 tiles shorter. But if it's a difference of like, if it comes to like a difference of like 5 tiles, then they'll definitely take the shorter one, or the longer one. So these guys are often easier to deal with, because like, you just set up a couple plasma cannons and it kills them. But don't you worry, the game will get harder. Neither of these are great. I guess I'll just take this. Plasma cannon, yes. Another corner. Let's get a corner. Do I want to add more entry points? I guess so. So on wave 41, we'll be able to close this up. Beautiful. Okay. Okie dokie. I might be able to squeeze in a sanction cannon here. I mean, I would like it if it was a bit more to the right. Actually, I might sell this. The positioning is okay. Where have we got this? Here it is. Spotters does increase its DPS a lot, but it requires you to have an extra Mirador blueprint to put next to it. Whereas pinning fire is just always useful, because it's an area of effect slow. Very nice. Guess I'll drop in another plasma fence. Salamanders actually deal a ton of damage. A guy picked them up at the end of his run and it was like 3rd or 2nd place in total damage. Really? That's kind of impressive. So the gimmick that they have is really weird. Convert height instead of getting a range bonus from being at higher positions, they get a damage bonus. But the damage bonus is like 10% per height level, which is absolutely not worth it. Now, fortunately, they do have really good base damage, but like their gimmick is actually more of a downside than anything. Look at these slow bastards. They're already slow, and I'm slowing them down even further with these things. Which is part of why the later rounds are going to take a lot longer, is because all of the late-game enemies are really slow, and they always take the longest path, and you try to slow them down even more. But they have so much HP that, like, it just takes forever to kill them. Okay, there we go. Mega emitter number 2. Finally. Beautiful. This thing's got, thanks to guided charts, it's +5, and thanks to these two, that's another +4. So that's +9 range. And then plus another 2 from the height bonus, so I guess it's +11 range. Amazing. That's amazing. And also, its upgrades are now 40% cheaper. Trail of Tears simulator. Good lord. It's taken a lot of experimentation to figure out how to actually do this. And I think this character really is the best, because you can just start collecting a lot of high tier blueprints early on, which then sets you up for a much easier endless mode. Although, hypothetically, there are some other characters that I think, well, hypothetically the red faction could have an even better late game, because they get double blueprints. But they're also just a huge pain in the ass to play in the early game. I think I'll take this. Do I want a corner? I guess. Yeah, we'll take that. Of course, uneven terrain. Thanks, Obama. And now we get overloading cells. The big upgrade. 600% damage. Life is easy. Look at that. And so I think, now this upgrade is interesting. I think this, so there's rate of fire, but there's also reload speed. Right? And because of this upgrade, rate of fire is not, like, it's still useful, but it's not great on your plasma cannons, because most of their downtime is due to reload speed. Even if you get 100% rate of fire, it's only really increasing your DPS by like 15 to 20%. Because it means that they empty their magazine faster, but it still takes them forever to reload the magazine. But of course, you still want to take that upgrade, because 600% damage is insane. Alright, let's see. These come in wave 42. Alright. These bastards. So much fun. The way that they lag my computer. Well, they're probably not... If it's just two of them, they'd probably be fine. Sneak in another rampart right here. These guys. Oh, and there's another interesting bug I found. So, it seems like most things in the game are multiplied by delta T, but projectile speeds aren't. Which is really interesting. Yeah, Trojan Horse is bigger brother. Yeah. Yeah, they are. You have no idea how true that is. These things kill you a lot. Very satisfying laser, to be honest. I mean, stacking up enough of these things is really fun. If you can get like 6 of them in a row, it is really cool. So, yeah, there does seem to be something interesting going on with... I guess I should explain delta T. So, like, the way that the computer works is it's like calculating things frame by frame. But in a video game, normally what people do is they multiply it by the change, like the time difference between frames. And the reason for that is that if your computer lags, is that it takes that into account, basically. It seems like most things in the game are multiplied by delta T, but projectile velocities aren't. So if your game starts lagging, you're, like, effectively projectiles like this cannon start traveling in slow motion. And so you'll have, like, this cannon will have, like, 5 shells in the air, all just traveling together. And it looks like it's, like, you'll see it when we get to the laggy parts, but something you'll notice, for example, like, a good way to check this is speed up. A good way to check this is ooh, that's good. So if you have speed up off, and then you toggle it on and off, like, the enemies start moving faster, but the shells fired by your cannons move at the same speed, whether or not you have this toggled up. It is very odd. I'm not sure why they did that. Now, I could be wrong about that, but that is absolutely what it looks like. Where do I drop these in? We're going to run out of space. Gotta tuck these away in corners where they're not intruding on anyone. Crack it open, get another one. Nice. And rampart. Alright. Let's see where else we can drop this. Somewhere back there. There we go. Crack it open, we get another rampart. And another mission control. You see, you can see why these things are good. You get infinite. It's like you can run out of these blueprints, and so being able to just pop these in and keep getting high-tier blueprints is really useful. Like, the first problem you run into with this game is running out of blueprints. The second problem you run into is physically running out of space. Well, no, that's not exactly true. The first problem you run into is running out of resources. Then the next problem is you run out of blueprints. And then if you solve the blueprint problem, then you physically run out of space on the map. And those are like the three issues that you face when trying to go endless. Oh, I've got a lot of ramparts. Let's see. Yeah, I'll take that. So is it not a bad thing to have so many entrances on the opposite side of your anti-aircraft weapons? At this stage, there aren't really, like, the only flying units that skip the path are the Pendors and the Krylos. And at this stage of the game, most of the enemy's value is tied up in these things. Like, you'll notice that there's not a lot of other enemies spawning. In fact, there's a lot less enemies than there were at Wave 35, because most of the wave's difficulty comes from these things. So the fact that these entry points are skipping my anti-aircraft weapons isn't really an issue, because, like, we just need to worry about these stuff. We don't need to worry about Krylos. Can't you just spam ramparts at this point? Can just spam. Well, yeah, that's what we're gonna... The main thing is... Yeah, that's what we want to do, specifically for the defensive network upgrade. Because if we stack this up enough, then our bunkers end up with, like... Well, again, they end up with, like, enough range to cover the entire map eventually. The problem is, partly, that these things take up 6 tiles, and those 6 tiles have to be even. So finding the space to drop in all of these ramparts is going to be a big challenge. But that's what we got to do. It's also why Durandals are kind of good in the late game, because the Blessed Machine upgrade means that they get really good damage. Out of any single tile weapon, they give you the best damage. So the fact that you can kind of just drop them in anywhere, give them Blessed Machine, and they'll be useful. In fact, I think I'll take it now. Because these guys can definitely kill us. See, look, they're not taking the longest path. So even though they have the rearguard trait, they took a slightly shorter path, which is a bit annoying. Like, the rearguard trait isn't... It's like... It's not like 100% consistent. It needs to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it seems like they only take the longer path 100% of the time if it's like 6 tiles longer at minimum. Something like that. So it says they take the longest path, but that's not always true. Take another rampart, and... Yeah, I'll take another Mega Laser. There we go. Don't have the money for it, but... it is useful. Let's see. I can drop this in... I guess next to this Derium Tower. And I can drop this in... I mean, that's a decent spot. And go for compact charges to slow them down. Nice. Enough technology to build giant plasma cannons, but not advanced enough to move some dirt already to flatten the ground. Yes. Although some people have suggested adding like a drill to the game that lets you reduce the height of the terrain. If they do end up adding that, it'll certainly change the game. At least for endless mode. It's not going to change too much pre-endless mode because you can usually find space. But the uneven terrain is going to be an issue for, like, finding space for all this crap. So you can see, look at the shells. Right, watch the shells. Oh, they're not in range. Whoops. But you saw how it, like, fired... There was, like, 3 crammed together. It's because the game lagged a little bit. And as a result, they were they're kind of... Right, this is why I'm saying that I don't think they're multiplied by delta T. I don't know if I can explain it too well. I'm struggling a little bit. But, like, you see how it looked like it was rapid firing, but it's not. It's because of, like, if there's skipping frames, it's traveling at the same speed, frame by frame. It's like no matter how much the game lags, the shells travel the same distance per frame, even though everything else is multiplied by delta T. It's quite strange. Yeah, dirt compactors are forbidden technology. It's like if you thought AI was bad, wait till you know, artificial intelligence rebelling, you thought that was bad, wait till you see what the dirt compactors can do. So this is another case where I'm going to try and wrap around this spot to create a tile, and then I'm going to go jump out this way, wrap around, create a tile. It's just what you got to do. I only have 1 platform. Ugh, that's not great. Are you wanting to show us how to kill a stream by overheating the CPU or GPU? Yes. Indeed. Do I just go Blessed Machine here? Yeah, I guess so. I'll do that. The Blessed Machine. So the thing is, ideally, I would make a row of Omega lasers and put plasma cannons next to them, but because the terrain is so uneven and I only have 1 platform, I might have to put a plasma cannon up here instead. Which is annoying. Yeah, for whatever reason, they really seem to like going down this path specifically, so I'm going to put the barricade there. Oh, that's true. The Omega Mucos, when they split, they do go down the same path, but it does cause, like, once you get enough of them, it will lag as they start splitting. And maybe it's not recalculating the path, but I think it's all of the turrets have to recalculate which enemy to target, because a lot of them target closest enemy to HQ. And so when it dies, now there's 6 new guys that have to calculate for, and when they die, it's another 3. It's another, so 18, and then it goes to 54, and then it's like 162. It becomes a real issue. Do I have enough to re-upgrade this? No. No, I don't. So you can see the separation between those 2 shells. When it starts lagging, you know it because you'll see the sanction cannon and there'll be like 5 shells coming out of it. Even though the first shell is supposed to land before the second shell exits the barrel. Makes sense for potato PCs. No, the plasma cannons absolutely do the most damage. So if I click on them now, 353,000. Right, earlier they were doing a lot less damage because I only had guided charges. They start doing insane damage when you get Shattering Charge and Overloading Cells. 353,000, 302,000. If I click on this thing, it's doing 27,000. So this is like 15 times as much damage. Or like this guy, 65,000. Like your number one DPS against big units is going to be these things. Which I guess at this point, I can drop in another one here. Try and save up for Overloading Cells. Yeah, and there's the Threxid, the final boss. And these guys they have the... This is going to be where stacking up air commands is really useful because of early warnings. This, like, the flares that you get that cause a bombing run, useless, doesn't even matter. What matters is early warnings. A 10% wide, like, army-wide damage bonus to Threxids makes all the difference. Oh, look at all these tourists, oh my god. Luckily none of them spawned over here, because if they spawn enough of them over there, then they will just kill me. But if it's just like one, then we're probably fine. Awesome Yukos family versus evil and intimidating pulse cannon. So if I click speed up, notice how when I toggle it, the shell is still moving at the same speed, right? Like, watch the shell speed. Now watch speed up. Oh no, it didn't fire. God damn it, it killed it. But like, I'm pretty sure if you toggle speed, like our plasma cannons are a good example. Look at the velocity. Now when I toggle it off, okay, these do actually seem to be. It's so weird how inconsistent it is. Where I can't even... Like, look, if I have speed up toggled on, it just fired 2 shells out, but as soon as I turn it off... You guys are seeing that, right? I'm not gaslighting myself. This is a real thing. Right, because the sanctioned cannon shells just aren't multiplied by delta T. Yes, I see it. Okay. Good. Because I noticed it a while ago, and I was like, is it shooting faster, or is it just... Like, what's going on here? It's very strange. Like, at first I was like... at first I thought they might be shooting faster, but over time I've become more and more sold on the idea that it's... that they're not multiplied by delta T. Check plasma fence damage. 68,000 and 57,000. 276k, 329k. So plasma fences do okay. They definitely do respectable damage, but then again, advanced Durandal position, 101k. This one is 111k. So your main damage is going to be the plasma cannons. At this point, I think I want to start dropping in more airfields because I need to stack up early warnings. The thing is that they're such an awkward piece of equipment to place. So we can squeeze one in there, get more recon, more damage against air units, because we need that damage against Threxids. I mean, I could put it here, but that's really where I want to put other stuff, ideally. Could put it here, but that's kind of I want to put a rampart there. I guess I can squeeze one in here. Okay, I could squeeze in 2. 1 here. And 1 here. In fact, I can take that to buff the rampart. Now I've got all these flares that I don't need. Guess I'll just drop them in. probably not going to get this far backwards, so I could put it here. I don't know where else I would put it. Yeah, there's not really anywhere else I want to put it. Drop that in like that. Okay. So now we've stacked up 4 early warnings. That mostly mitigates the default damage penalty against air units. If I can get a 5th one, that'll actually completely negate it. Welcome to Tetris, ladies and gentlemen. Video games have devolved back into Tetris. The best game. That's why they... You see, that's why they made it first, because it's the best game. Yeah, there's nowhere else I'm really happy putting that. Okay. I think at this point I want to start stacking bunkers, so let's... See, look at that range. That's just with a couple of ramparts. And you look at that beautiful range. Look at that fan-like shape. As we get more ramparts, that's only going to get bigger. This is Tetris? You haven't played EFT. I don't even know what EFT is. Nerd alert, I just looked into it, and you specifically have to call time.delta time in your code to use delta, so it's totally possible someone forgot to call it for one or a few projectiles. Yeah, that's possible. Because it does seem like most things have that applied. Let's see, height 3. So this one will go high ground expertise. And we'll go with that. Video game carcinization. Yes, everything eventually evolves into Tetris. Yeah, you see how, like, the regular enemies have almost entirely stopped spawning because all of the enemy points are now in these Threxits. And to be fair, they do have 200,000 hit points. Also, they have the Overwatch ability, which increases your terrain reroll costs by 20. But at this point, I've got so many of these commands with predictive deployment that it still only costs 5. And then they're going to pass by these bunkers, which these are anti-air weapons, so they're really good against the Threxits. So you can see how I've got a layered strategy here. I've got these, the scout towers are not doing good damage, but they are consistently applying a slow to all of these guys. I've got these bunkers, and these lasers take care of, like, swarms. These things do really good single target damage. And now I'm stacking up these bunkers, and once I get enough ramparts, their range is just going to cover all of this. So they can shoot the Threxits from anywhere. Alright, let's speed this up. Which does mean that these guys are kind of in auction. I kind of put these bunkers a little early. They did help against the Krylos early on, but ideally I'd rather put them over here instead. But whatever. It is what it is. Clean those up. That's wave 47. Yeah, I'll take that. So let's see, this thing did 149,000, this thing did 357,000. And that's the difference between overloading cells and not. It still does good damage, but overloading cells is what really takes these things into the stratosphere. Also, these bunkers can do pretty good damage. 63,000, not bad. It is going to get better as they get more range, but for now I'm just building the bunkers. Squeeze one more right there. Bing bong. It's also devolving into Tetris era graphics and frame rate. Yeah, my, for a second there, it said my, so someone recommended changing the settings in OBS to, like, variable bitrate. And for a second there, it said my bitrate fell below the recommended amount. So it might be why you were seeing pixels as I was zooming around. It was a very... Maybe I don't want a variable bitrate, but we'll see. Alright, do you still see them? The bitrate crunch is real. Ooh, bad graphics. What are you going to do? Didn't the plasma cannon you placed did more damage in shorter time than the one with 600% damage? Oh no, what you're missing there is that this only tells you the damage from the last round. It's not the total damage across the entire game. Every once in a while the stream just gives up and shows it's like 144p for 5 seconds. Okay. Yeah, maybe I should turn off the variable bitrate. Because I don't think that's been an issue in the past. But yeah, so the way that that works, Balanoid, is this only keeps track of damage dealt the last wave specifically. It's not damage across the entire playthrough. Is it bitrate crunch or crying processor? Hey, a little bit of both maybe, huh? Let's see. I've got a lot of sanction cannons lying around. I could probably squeeze one in here. Man, none of these positions are great. That one is, but I do need to spend a platform to get it. And I only have one platform. I'm spending it. Error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Hold on. It's the computer begging for mercy. It is. It's not 144, it's like 30. Good God. Yeah, it might just be my computer begging for mercy. Pixels the size of nails. Alright. Let's see. Can I change these settings? There's some settings you're allowed to change and some that you're not. Or at least while you're streaming. Okay, I don't think I can change that one. Okay, so I did turn up... He is still in it. Yes, we're still in it. On wave 48. Okay, so viewers were experiencing buffering. So that... Yeah, so I don't think I can change all of the settings, but I can change... that. Hopefully you guys can see what's going on. Right, let's drop these in, get some more slows. Right, how does it look right now? Is it improved? I can't wait to look at the VOD for this and see literally nothing. That's gonna be fun. I'm enjoying the stream crying out for mercy. in beating the monsters, you are becoming a monster. Well, slow your roll there, Nietzsche. It looks great when you're not zooming around. Okay, well maybe I'll just sit still. I'll zoom out to the maximum. Okay, I've already done that. And we'll just sit here. Oh god, okay, I just looked at my... What the... Okay, I just saw what you're... I looked at OBS and I just saw what you guys were talking about. The whole screen turned like gray and like blocks of pixels. That was funny. That's amazing. Probably not great, but for today it'll have to do. You said I'll just sit still in the stream, immediately protested. Yeah, I saw that. I guess from now on I'll just have to sit in this specific camera position to try and minimize the amount of video encoding required. Gotta optimize this. Like a real gamer. What's wrong with the gray? Nothing's wrong with the gray. In fact, I like gray. As much as I want Slavic howitzers, I think they're going to be a bit difficult to fit in this map. So we can close that in. Boom. Mostly flat. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Ooh, you know what? I might be able to fit both. Oh, no. Wait, I think I can sell that, and then I might be able to fit... No, if I sell that, then I probably want a rampart in there. High capacity defensive network. I think if I sell this, I can get another one in there. Yeah. High capacity defensive network. So now if I click on my bunkers, look at that range. Ooh boy. That's some talent. That's got range. Yeah, we gotta jerry-rig everything. Everyone wants to be well... That's right, Stochastic Turtle. Everyone wants to be well rested, but nobody wants to sleep. You can't have both. Bonk. The gray brain energy, second channel incoming. Nah. A nice try, but no. I mean, this is still baby mode, honestly. We're at wave 49, but we've only got, like, what, 3 Threxids? Just you wait till we have 30 of them. That'll be exciting. Hours a day on average, or my body won't function. That is a lot of sleep. Are you sure you're getting enough vitamins? Yeah, maybe we should just play on speed up now to get through, because these guys are really slow. Right, we want to get to see how far we can get. Although I do want to slow down a little bit so that the Sanction Cannon can actually hit its targets. Right, you can see here, this is why the bunker range is so good. Now they can shoot across to these guys. We're going to take a little bit of damage here, but we've got plenty we can absorb. And we're going to repair it all instantly anyways. Super heavy pulse defense efficiency? Yes, please. Drop that in. Get more short-range comm links. Beautiful. Bunker stacking. Hunker and bunker. Okay, we can stack one here. Aerial coordination, and we can go boom, boom. Now we click on these. Beautiful. And I guess we just send it. Oh yeah, another thing is the missiles from the Rampart silos also seem to have this issue, just like the Sanction Cannon. Where as I toggle speed up on or off, the missiles move at the same velocity. Vitamins. This is the internet. We do medical diagnosis here. Obviously, it's mono. You're right, Patata. That is the right approach to this thing, is to just medically diagnose people. It reminds me of that one, you know, that one skit of the, I'm not a rapper. Bing, bam, pop, bada bop, boom, pow. But instead of insisting that you're not a rapper, you're like, I'm not a doctor, but let me diagnose you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but I am going to diagnose you. I diagnose you with sick. Sick as fuck. Hell yeah. Okay, so I might have overdone it with the ramparts. Oh yeah, I fucked up. Honestly, deserved. So here's one of the problems you run into, is if you invest too much in the ramparts, these things aren't actually doing a ton of damage. If I had instead built these pulse cannons and just accepted that... If I had just accepted and put it here, even though it's not an optimized position, then I wouldn't have died there. But it is what it is. The game's getting laggy enough as it is. I'll make a video where I go to like wave 69 and show you how it's done, but yeah, look at that. 8 million damage. Bunkers, 3 million damage. 1 million damage, 1 million. 0.8 million. Alright. Well, that took long enough. I think I am going to... What? I mean, I've got a few things I've got to take care of. Yeah, I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up part 3 for Brawl King. And then I'm going to record Moneyfish. And then maybe... maybe I can get all of that done today, and then start up another stream tomorrow. Stream a little Star Sector, maybe do some chat builds my fleet. But yeah, I think this stream is going to be Jover for now. So thank you all for showing up on something that's a little bit different, and also apparently not, my computer not cooperating too good. Yeah, give your PC a rest. I hope you all had a good time, and I'll see you all again soon. Lobster.